Today is an amazing day. Today, Refresco and Cod's potting business join forces. And I welcome close to 4,000 new colleagues to the Refresco family. Welcome. This is Refresco Today, the world's largest independent bottler, leading in Europe and North America, with more than 9,000 people, in 12 countries, in 59 facilities, producing over 12 billion liters of soft drinks and juices. So today, we're unrivaled in our industry.
I'm absolutely thrilled. Take a look. Refresco and Cod's bottling business, together as one. We bring together the best people, the greatest opportunities, enhanced capabilities, a global network for our customers, and an unrivaled range of products.
And our ambitions, big. We want to invest, create, and expand. Joining forces to share knowledge, learn from each other, and develop careers.
So today, we take a big leap and move one step closer to achieving our vision, our drinks on every table. Integrating two companies and cultures. That's our challenge. It requires speed, prudence, and respect. And our track record shows it's nothing we cannot do. It's what we do. Today, this is our future. I'm looking forward to working with you. Welcome to Refresco. Our journey starts now. Welcome. I think that's what it's all about. After a very long journey and a long process, we closed the deal last week between Cod and Refresco. And actually what I'm going to do the next hour is take you through the story, tell you a bit more about your own company, tell you a bit more about Refresco, tell you a bit more about the combined company. And in order to do so, I'll take you through the agenda. We'll talk about the two companies, we'll talk about the governance, what does it mean really, what's going to change for you, what already has changed you're not aware of yet. We'll talk about integration plan because it's nice to buy companies. It's not so difficult to buy companies, but it starts to be much more difficult if you really want to integrate and create value. And then I'll take you through some of our conclusions, and hopefully you're going to share your conclusions with us during the Q&A. Before going through the story, it's probably good to mention a couple of faces that you're not aware of and you're not familiar with. And let me start on the on the left-hand side for you. That's our Refresco US people, the people who were active in the Whitlock company and who will join forces with you in the new combined company. André Vogt, he's right there. He was the finance director of Refresco US before sharing forces with you, or joining forces with you. Jeroen de Beyer. Jeroen, actually I forgot to say, André is Dutch, like I am. Jeroen, sorry, also Dutch. Responsible for HR in the US activity as it was up to yesterday. Matt, where are you? Not Dutch, he's actually a US guy. He was responsible, sorry about that. He was responsible for sales, especially the retail sales in the old Whitlock organization. And Shane is active as our operations director, so responsible for the three sides that you'll see later on in the presentation. That's the people who have been active in the last couple of years on your territory, in your countries, in your home turf. But there are some more people at the holding. Koert, where is he? Koert is actually responsible for anything that we do on procurement. So global procurement is in his hands. Raymond Klarenaar, he's right here. Raymond also at the holding, responsible for what we call the integration activity. Whatever we do in integration, he'll be there. And next to that, he's very active in the M&A field. So whenever we look at new opportunities, new targets, buying new companies, you'll also see him being present. And Minna, last but not least, here on the front row, Minna is taking care of all the communication that we do internally and externally from a holding perspective. And then myself, I bear the responsibility of being CEO of this company for the last 10 years. And it's good to know that Refresco US head office was in Wharton, and Refresco Holding head office is in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Just that as a small start, so at least you know who we talk about later on in the presentation. The real start. what we did create by signing and closing the deal last week, we created the largest independent bottler worldwide in our industry. We're proud of that because we feel that that's something unique. In an industry where we feel that size really matters. Size matters for various reasons. Size matters because we're facing huge customers. Effectively, if you look at our top 10 customers, all the customers are much bigger than we are, although our size starts to be something. But what is very aparticular in our industry is that when we turn around to our supply base, effectively it's the same thing. It's a very oligopolistic situation where most of our suppliers are still much bigger than we are. So if we want to have a credible position and a position where we can negotiate with customers and with suppliers, we better be important for them, and that's where size really matters. It's also good to know that it has been a long journey. Actually, the final journey started in November 2015. No, sorry, November 2016. It took us about 14 months to get to the finish of the deal. We had a lot of negotiations with your senior team, with the COT senior management, some of the people here slightly involved, but mainly with Jerry and Jay, we went all the way. It took a while, but I think by the end of the day, we created something which is new for us, but also certainly new for you. And I think the real good message for you is we tried to bring you back to the core business. COT was a bottling industry or a bottling business till around 7 years ago, when they started to diversify into the HOD business, which probably had some effect on how they looked at bottling. And effectively, good to understand, is that the whole journey took us much longer than 15 months. It took us 10 years. My first visit to Tampa was in May 2007, when we, for the first time ever, had discussions with COT about joining forces. At the time already, we felt that if we really want to make the difference in the industry, we have to bring two big, great companies together. Then, in that period after that, you kind of got into the situation that bottling was no longer the real core business of COT, and I think what we really try to do now is bring you back in what we feel is our core business. The good news, and probably also the very limiting news, is Refresco cannot do anything else than bottling. That's what we're good at. That's what we feel we are professional in. That's where we have the size and the leverage. We're not moving into other businesses. So today, but also in the years to come, you will be part of the biggest bottler on earth, independent, and you will be back in your core business. The way we look at your business is the way I start to present it now. It's a business which is producing 760 million cases, or for the Europeans here, we talk about 4.3 billion liters of product. Revenue, $1.7 billion. EBITDA, let's say, profitability, or what you deliver to the shareholders, $137 million. And people-wise, we talk about 4,000 people, 4,000 new entrants into Refresco. And actually, you're divided over 29 locations. And although we're now in the UK platform, it's also good to understand that for Refresco, this acquisition is about US and the UK. US, absolutely number one player. UK, together now with our old activities of Refresco, also an absolute number one player. Very important for us, because as soon as we feel that we can have and we never say dominant, but a prominent position in a country, and we can be the number one or two, our profitability is just better. And our returns get back to levels where we really want to be. So the whole acquisition, the whole takeover of COT has been driven by, yes, we wanted to be a number one player in the US, and we also wanted really to be the number one player in the UK. Then if we dig a little bit further into the activity, and this again, this is US and UK together. Private label, retail brands, roughly 86% of your business. Contract manufacturing, between brackets, only 14%. But let's also realize 5 years ago that was close to zero. So it's a very big growth factor in your actual company and in your past company. You'll see later on that contract manufacturing for us is crucial, especially when we talk about further growth. When we look at geographies, North America, which is actually the US and Canada, 70% of the business. UK, 28%, and Mexico, 2%. It's a small percentage, Ernesto, but still, it's very prominently there. And we honestly feel that Mexico is one of the areas where we could also show some growth. It's a fantastic market, it's a huge market, and we're really small there now. When we look at the products, carbonated soft drinks, still the largest part of the old Cod business, 37%. Water, 28%. Juices, 16%. Energy and sport drinks, 8%. And then we still have some other categories at roughly 11% of the business. When we look at these charts, and I'll come back on that a little bit later, you'll see that there are some areas where we can show enormous growth, and there are some areas where this industry is clearly under pressure. Your plans, your sites.